Hello and welcome along to the On the Whistle podcast. I'm your host, Zain Nabi, and today, believe it or not, I am flying solo, bringing you the pod. We do an African football wrap every night during the tournament to give you our thoughts. Normally, it's myself, it's Ali, and a couple of our friends around the braai, as we say, just talking about our favorite headlines and favorite stories. It's so great to be here with you tonight. For those of you out there who've been here through the tournament, you will know that I am not short of opinions, and I hope you are not short of opinions. So please, I'd love you to populate the chat, whether you're watching on YouTube, whether you're watching on Facebook, whether you're watching on TikTok or Instagram, wherever you're getting this live feed. Come on, leave us some questions, leave us some ratings, leave us some reviews. We wanna hear from each and every one of you. We know that some of our friends who've been around this braai, they will pop in. We will hear from them. They will tell us what they want because ultimately we're all fans, and there was such brilliant football today. I mean, look at who is attending the Africa Cup of Nations in Morocco. Of course, Zinedine Zidane's there to watch his son play for Algeria. He's a goalkeeper. I think he won man of the match a couple of days ago. So you have people like Zidane who are there, who are present. And then you see the likes of Real Madrid's Kylian Mbappe, Chouameni, Koundé from Barcelona. All these La Liga big names. They are spending their Christmas break watching the Africa Cup of Nations. And let's just be honest. I mean, Mbappe's got those roots from Algeria, those roots from Cameroon. Yes, he was donning an orange hoodie tonight, watching the Ivory Coast Cameroon. Was he perhaps showing who he was supporting? I don't know. But maybe he was just trying to be inconspicuous. Either way, I think when we see these stars, particularly those with African links and heritage, it shows you that this tournament culturally means something to them. They might be playing in Spain, they might be playing in France, they might be part of the African diaspora who have taken their trade overseas because they've lived abroad, right? And they're playing there. But when this tournament on this festival of football, everybody wants to be a part of it. And listen, let's get right into it. Ivory Coast, Cameroon, 0-0. Brilliant game. Sorry, not 0-0. It was not 1-1, but it was a brilliant game. There was lots of excitement. It was something that I think we all found very, 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 very absorbing, and very beautiful to watch. So to see them play to a 1-1 draw, the excitement that came from that, it was 0-0 at halftime. I mean, that shows you what a game it was. That shows you the quality on offer. I mean, Bryan and Mbeumo, obviously, for a long time, a brilliant player at Brentford, then gets the move to United. He's an absolute star, moving, wriggling, doing a high work rate, moving into a lot of space. And Mbeumo was brilliant out there, from start to finish. So people who often criticize African players for going to play in the Africa Cup of Nations, look at Mbeumo. Look at what he's doing for Cameroon. He was brilliant. And again, it was goalless at the break. There were certainly plenty of incidents, but the quality from both sides, Mbeumo, Ahmed Diallo, they looked really brilliant when given space and time. It was a fun and invigorating first half that really exploded into life in the second half. And it looked like, Frank Kessie had put his team put his team in front with a goal, but that was disallowed. But Ahmed Diallo, stunner. I mean, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? That goal, wow, what a way to light it up. What a way to get the game going. I mean, let me know in the comments. Let me know what you think. I mean, was that one of the goals of the tournament? For me, it certainly was. And then, of course, Mbeumo, heavily influential. And then we saw the deflected strike from Chimedo. Was fantastic, fantastic, fantastic. And I have to say, look, you got David Pagao, the Cameroonian coach, who was a former assistant. He was working in the domestic league before he got this position and is now in the dugout. We all know the controversy that engulfed the Cameroonian Football Federation. when two squads were named by the coach that was sacked by President Samuel Eto'o, and he was without Frank Ngisa, and he left out senior figures like Vincent Abubakar and Andre Onana. For him to get the type of results he's getting probably is vindication for Eto'o, because they beat Gabon in their opener. They've now got a draw. They've got 4 points. Cameroon are on track to make the knockout rounds. It would be pretty hard pressed to see them not qualify. Yes, they're going to have a very tough game up next. We know that is coming. We know that they will have to prepare for that. And let me know what you think. I mean, let me know. Do you think they can overcome the Mozambican team that themselves, when we'll get to a little later in the pod here, achieved great success today with their win over Gabon? An upset, I think, fair to say, not many of us would have seen that coming. Of course, if you didn't see it as an upset, please post a comment. Post in the comments and let us know what you think. But they were equally brilliant in their game, and we'll get to that. But I gotta say, if you're Cameroon, you got to be happy with that. You got to be happy. 4 points, cracking game, came back from behind, got the equalizer, and you're on course to making the knockouts. And let's not forget, right? Cameroon are not going to the World Cup this year. They're not going to be in the United States, Mexico, Canada. It was Cabo Verde, the Blue Sharks, who qualified ahead of them in qualifying, and then they were eliminated in the Africa playoffs. So this is a fantastic way for them to get an opportunity to win some silverware and restore some pride. We spoke pre-tournament with Francis and Quain, one of our African football experts, and he was talking about how this Cameroon team, how he'll be hoping to get into the knockouts, maybe get into the quarters. Of course, we know the Ivory Coast; they are the reigning champions. Again, quality across the park in their team. They obviously won't be happy with how things went today, but at the same token, I mean, you got to say this was one of the better games. And I said this pre-tournament, right? I felt like, and I know people think there are other groups that are a group of death, but I really think that this is the group of death. I think this tournament's anything can happen, right? In the AFCON, absolutely anything can happen. But if you're asking me about the group of death, it has to be this one. You've got Gabon, you've got Mozambique, you've got Cameroon, and you've got Ivory Coast. And I would say three of the teams I would say pretty evenly matched with Cameroon, with Gabon, and with Ivory Coast. Mozambique, I always knew could be a wild card in this. And they've certainly shown that with their victory over Gabon today. Look, this is a result that is history. It's ended a 40-year wait for victory at the Africa Cup of Nations. It was a 5-goal thriller in Agadir when they beat Gabon 3-2. It was goals from, excuse me, as I sip on some H2O, from Bengal, Katamo, and Kalila that earned the Southern African nation their first victory. And I'm sort of laughing here is because they had Palembe, who was captaining Mozambique, a 42-year-old, and I'm pretty similar age to him, so I covered him when he used to play in the Premier Soccer League. So to see somebody my age just take to the field and do like just be there as a part of that is phenomenal. Because I remember when I was covering South African football, and he was part of the SuperSport and Mamelodi Sundowns teams that achieved wonderful success. So to see him there, this is their first win, Mozambique's first win since they debuted in 1986. This was their 17th game. And now the result means that Gabon are eliminated after the draw tonight. So they will be leaving Group F. So when you bring in that context, I mean, Palembe was a toddler the last time Mozambique would have won. So it's a phenomenal result. And so thus far to me is we're going to get to Sudan in a minute. But this is a phenomenal result. But I would argue, arguably, the upset of the tournament. Let me know what you think. Do you think that this is the upset of the tournament thus far? Post in the comments. Let me know what you think. And what about Gabon? I mean, is this really? I mean, the last few months have been so disappointing. Eliminated in the World Cup playoffs. and now an early elimination from the AFCON concert. Well, we'll hit shot with a few other headlines. Riyad Mahrez, he scored a first half penalty as Algeria sealed their place in the knockout rounds. They beat Burkina Faso in their Group E encounter. Never underestimate Burkina Faso. They're one of these teams that performs well at the Africa Cup of Nations. They're a really, really good team and a hard team to beat. So Algeria have 6 points. They can't be overhauled. And then we had the shock of the day, the absolute shock. But before we get there, it's worth letting you know that, Riyad Mahrez has extended his goal as Algeria's all-time leading scorer. The Cup of Nations was his 9th goal. And he's also the leading scorer so far at this edition. He scored, after he scored twice in the opening game. So he's hitting those standings with 3 goals. And then the unexpected narrative, the surprise was Sudan beating Equatorial Guinea. And if you asked me before the game, I would say Equatorial Guinea have this. I mean, they've got Nsue, who I rate very highly. You look at what Equatorial Guinea has done in previous tournaments. They beat the Ivory Coast in the last tournament, and they knocked out Algeria in the tournament before that. And everybody remembers what a high-flying team Algeria was when they had previously beaten Senegal to win the tournament a couple of years ago, when Jemal Belmadi had one of the most formidable teams, not just in Africa, but the world. So I would have said that this one was going to be Equatorial Guinea's, but Sudan found a way to win 1-0, and the significance of the scoreline is even bigger. Look, Sudan's in the midst of a civil war. It has got a humanitarian crisis. So when you look at everything that's going on in the country, football pales in significance. However, this team has provided an inspiration even long before this by qualifying for the tournament. They've had to play all their games away from Sudan. I mean, Kwesi Appiah, the Ghanaian who has gone, there's done a magnificent job, absolutely magnificent job. It's a team that has resilience, it's character, it's got belief. They're ranked 117th in the FIFA rankings, and this win is a breath of fresh air. So while I might be arguing that the Mozambique upset was the biggest, many will say that this was, and I can completely get it. I completely get it. Let me know. Post a comment if you think that the Sudan win was even bigger. And the beautiful thing about this story is Sudan have kept their hopes alive of reaching the knockout stages, and that would break a long cycle of disappointment that really pushed them into the background of African football. So that's our wrap today. Lots of wonderful headlines. The show is going to be posted online. So if you have any questions, if you have anything you want us to react to, please don't be afraid to let us know. We will either respond now or we'll get back to you later. We had such wonderful interaction on our previous show when we did our wrap up yesterday. So I'm going to go and read you some of the comments that we had from our previous show, just so you guys can get a sense of what people are saying, right? What people are thinking, because yesterday Nigeria really were Jekyll and Hyde, and they showed us their best and their worst, and they went over Tunisia, right? And I think a lot of our comments were really positive about the rep that Ali and I did. I'm going to read you a comment from Emmanuel Neo Ashibongu. Thanks for the outstanding communication. Nigeria is the team to beat. Eric is a great coach. Mr. Chuksa, you remind me of the 2021 team. Truly, that was a team with strength and flair. The loss to Tunisia was painful. We overrated ourselves. Then, after a clean sweep in Group D, we were already claiming to have won the tournament in the group stage. And that's how we fell whenever we start to count our chicks before the eggs hatch. Most times we win tournaments when the nation doesn't believe in the team and when they struggle like this. Then we had Piteo say the Nigerian coach bringing in 2 wingers when they were leading 3-0 is beyond unthinkable. That's a huge mistake that would have been costly. I think, looking in retrospect, I think that was a really, really good assessment of some of the issues that we've seen. We had Sunday Kigiba 1876 say, new subscriber from Nigeria here. Great analysis. Thank you for that comment. We really love to hear that. We had Kenny King 5606 say, Nigeria is the elephant in the room. Just subscribe. Thank you so much. We had um, Mikwambi. Let me try that again. Mikamwambazi 3807 say, great analysis. Too bad Nigeria failed to qualify for the World Cup. Subscribe from Zambia. Chipolo Polo in the house. And we had Animation hyphen D87V say, we love you from Nigeria. We had Just Mango Juice say, the coach, in reference to Eric Schall, made an error by removing the midfielders with wingers in the 75th minute. Your analysis is spot on, says Ernest Kanu, 1247. And it's difficult for me to argue with that. We'll go through a few more before we round off the pod, but we had great analysis from you guys. This was from SA 7207. So maybe it's Sasa. I love you, Ali. Who doesn't love Ali? We all love Ali. What a football game from Nigeria and Tunisia. However, the Nigerian coach made a mess of the substitutions. He didn't understand the deep technical know-how of reading a pressurized game or game substitution. I hope he learns his lesson now. Have a great day, guys. Heart. Thank you. We will, Sasa. Thank you for that lovely comment. And then we had Anthony Yede 8486 say, you guys are doing a great job. Keep up the good work. Proud Nigerian. Listen, we are just so happy to be around here, to be around the Bryan with you guys. So listen, we were going to end it shortly. It's Sunday. We're all maybe getting ready for work. For those of us who are still on holiday, getting ready to chill out, a bit more family time. You see the Christmas tree is still out here, and we're going to enjoy it. But there's wonderful football still to enjoy. Thank you for tuning in wherever you are in the world. And it will be awesome if you just keep sharing the content, liking, subscribing. You can find us at OTW_podcast across our social media accounts on X, on Instagram, on TikTok, or you search for the On the Whistle podcast on YouTube or Facebook. We are there. Well, listen, that's where we're going to leave it. Salagash for now, and we can't wait to see you tomorrow.